Hi there, my name is Maria, and in this section we're going to have a look at the listening paper. So we're going to have a look at the B2 descriptors according to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, and that is what skills B2 candidates should be able to have. Then we will give an overview of the exam structure, and I'm going to give you some tips on what to do before, while, and after you listen to its recording. And finally, we're going to have a look at some exam strategies you can try to put into practice in order to do better in this part. So, the first thing, what should a B2 candidate be able to do regarding the listening skill? Well, according to the Common European Framework, a B2 candidate can understand a standard spoken language, live or broadcast, on both familiar and unfamiliar topics normally encountered in personal, social, academic, or vocational life. Only extreme background noise, inadequate discourse structure, and/or idiomatic usage influence the ability to understand. So what does it mean? Well, it means you need to be able to understand the main point of many radio or TV programs on topics like current affairs, that is what is happening around the world, okay, basically the news. Then topics of personal interest, which might be related to your social life, your studies, personal experiences, okay, hobbies, for example. And then topics of professional interest, which are related to the world of work in general. So important to have into account that the delivery needs to be relatively slow and clear, okay? That means that the variety of English normally used in this type of exams is standard English, and that you're not going to get a listening on molecular science, which would be probably too difficult to understand for most of us. Well, now we know what a B2 candidate should be able to do, and we're going to have a look at the exam structure. In the exam, you will find 3 parts, okay? You will have 3 parts. Each part with a different task and a different recording, and you will listen to each recording twice. The total length of the exam will be from 30 to 40 minutes. Doesn't mean you need to listen for 40 minutes. Well, not really, okay? That time includes the instructions, the pauses, the repetitions, okay? And the time you have at the end of the test in order to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. What kind of tasks can you encounter in the exam? Normally, we have typical tasks, okay, that you can encounter in this exam will be the multiple choice, which is the typical ABC. Then you have the multi-matching. You have different speakers or different options, okay, with choices, okay, with different topics you need to match. And then the 4-word answer. That means you need to answer a question or you need to complete a sentence with a maximum of 4 words, okay? We're going to have a look at these parts in more detail in the next videos. What is the number of items, the number of questions that you can find in this type of exam? Well, there is no definite number of questions, but there will be a minimum of 5 and maximum of 10 items per task, which makes a minimum of 10, a maximum of 30 items or questions in total. Right, so now you know what you should be able to know and to do, and then you also know what the exam consists of. Then I'm going to give you some tips on things to do before you listen, while you listen, and after you listen to each recording. What is the most important thing to do before the recording begins? Well, the most important thing to do is you need to listen carefully to the instructions in the recording, and this is very important to avoid making mistakes later on. You have all the information you need in the instructions. Then the second thing is, please don't open the booklet until you're told to do so. Why? Because everybody, all the candidates, need to be able to open the booklet at the same time. Next, read the questions very carefully. This is the time to read all the questions very carefully and to underline keywords and all the information you consider to be important, relevant, in order to answer the question. And then finally, you will have time to read the questions in each part. So please concentrate on the task in front of you and forget about the other tasks for now. When the recording starts, or once the recording starts, you need to focus on this part, only on this part. As I said, forget about the other parts for now. You will have time to focus and to concentrate on them later on. Focus on the information you need to get. you have underlined the keywords. So now you basically need to try to get the information they are asking you to get, okay, which can be specific or general information. Answer the questions while listening to the recording, and this is very important. Some candidates wait until the end of the recording in order to answer the questions, and that can be a problem, because if you wait until the end of the recording, you might have forgotten what the speaker has said or what the topic was about, and you might not remember, okay? So try to get an answer, important, while you're listening to the recording. And finally, if you cannot answer a question, well, move on to the next one. Don't get stuck in there, okay? Remember, you will listen to its recording twice and you will have another opportunity to try to get the answer to that question, okay? So just move on and don't worry about that. When the recording finishes, what should we do? Well, important, you need to be able to check your answers, okay, and try to make any necessary changes, okay? If you change your mind, this is the time to make the changes now. Remember, you won't lose any marks for wrong answers, okay? So not answering a question is the same as answering or writing a wrong answer. It's better to try. And then at the end of the test, you will have 5 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet, okay? This is very important. Don't forget about that, as the answer sheet is the copy that will be taken into account in order to give you a mark, in order to mark your test. So use pen and then capital letters, as normally they are easy to read, okay? And better for the corrector, okay, to understand. And then when time expires, you need to stop writing and you need to hand in both the booklet and the answer sheet. But please make sure, as I said, your answers are on the answer sheet, as this is the copy that will be taken into account in order to mark your test. Now, after you know what you should be able to do, we have a look at the different parts of the exam and type of tasks, okay? We have a look at what to do before, while, and after we listen to the recording. What are some strategies that we can try to put into practice in order to do better in this part? Well, the best strategy would be predicting content. Why? Because when we try to predict the content in a talk, okay, in a conversation, in a task, all the vocabulary related to that topic in our brain, okay, all the vocabulary that is stored in our brain is activated. Okay, so for example, you can predict the kind of words you might hear or the style of language, whether it's formal or informal, and that way you get ready for it, you get ready for the listening, okay, for the task. Our knowledge of the world helps us, okay, anticipate the kind of information we are going to hear, we are likely to hear, okay? So it's important to do this prediction work, okay, when you are reading the questions and the instructions for the task. The second strategy is going to be listening for gist, or the general idea, okay? It's important to get the context, okay? The general idea of what the conversation is about. Information always comes in a sequence, and in that sequence of information, we have what we call content words, okay? Content words are going to be the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, all the important words to get the meaning, okay? So all these words can help you get the general picture, okay, to form the context. For example, if you hear food and friends and fun and park, okay, sunny day, what can you think of? Probably this helps you form the context of a picnic, right? Good. Strategy number 3, detecting signposting. Signposting language is all the words and phrases that we use in order to guide the listener through the talk. It would be similar to the signs you see on the road when you're driving the car, right? So try to follow the signs in order to get to your final destination, okay? All of these expressions and phrases, linking words, are used in order to make clear what has happened and what is going to happen next. So it can help you identify what point of the conversation the speaker is at the moment, okay? And for you to identify what is the question. What is the question, sorry, you are in that part of the task. Then, for example, typical phrases that you can hear would be, first of all, to introduce a topic, moving on to continue to the next topic, in summary, to finish, to summarize, okay, what the person is talking about, in other words, to clarify meaning, or to illustrate this, to give an example, okay, among others. There are a lot more. Strategy number 4, we have listening for details. We said it is important to get the general idea and to be able to identify the context, but on some occasions we need to be able to listen for detail. Okay, for example, you might need to get a number, a name, okay, an object, some specific kind of information. So what can you do? Try to ignore anything that doesn't sound relevant and try just to focus on the relevant information you need in order to get that specific information, okay, you need to get. And the last one, inferring meaning. What is this about? Well, inferring meaning is about using all the clues, all your prior knowledge of the world, okay, about the situation to work out, to guess the meaning of what we hear, okay? So this is something like getting the last piece, okay, in the puzzle. It's like trying to guess after all the information we have collected, trying to get the answer you need to your question. Cool. So what are the 5 strategies? Okay, predicting, okay, what the topic is going to be about. Listening for the general idea, listening for gist, trying to get the context clear, okay. Detecting signposting. Pay attention to all of these useful phrases, all of these expressions that are going to help you identify where in the talk are you in that moment. Listening for details, try to focus on the important information you need in order to answer the question. And finally, inferring meaning, okay? You need to try to guess, okay? Try to work out the meaning of what you're listening to, what you're hearing, in order to get your answer. So, well, in this section, we have seen what a B2 candidate should be able to do. We had a look at the exam structure. We had a look at tips to do before, while, and after you listen to the recording. And finally, we had a look at 5 exam strategies that are going to help you to do better in this part of the test. I hope you find it useful, and we're going to have a look at more specific information about the different types of tasks in the next videos. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.